Hey, what's up everybody? This is Alex from Not Casuals, and today we are going to be showing you the available races and classes for Tera Online. Let's go! Alright, the first thing you guys will need to know is that every races have different racial abilities, so it's going to be very important for you guys to pick your race carefully. Keep in mind guys that the classes are available to all the races, so a human could be any of the roles that you want. You just have to pick the one you want to play. Also guys, keep in mind I didn't have time to test all the classes yet, so I'm going to give you a small overview of the classes, what they can be, but I'm in no way judging them or anything. So for the warrior class, you can be a melee DPS obviously. You can also tank. I heard it was a bit harder than lancer tanks for example because they're in leather armor. I think it's more about evasion, but it's definitely doable. Now for the lancer, his main role is to tank. I don't think there's any other role. Like, I don't think you can be a DPS Lancer, for example. So if you want to tank, this might be the class you want to go for. Now for the Slayer and the Berserker, they're pretty much two burst melee DPS. And the only difference is one is in leather armor, the Slayer's in leather armor, and the Berserker is going to be in metal armor. So he's probably going to be a bit less squishy, but I think he has more issues with his mana. It's like a rage system. So now for the Sorcerer, it's pretty much straightforward. He's going to be a ranged DPS. He's going to use clothed armor, so he's going to be pretty squishy, I'm guessing. The Archer is going to be another ranged DPS, and leather armor though. Might not have as much burst, but it's still going to be good DPS. As for the Priest, they're probably going to be the main healers in this game. And for the Mystic, it's going to be more like support healers, and I think they're going to have more buffs, and they can summon minions too, like pets, so it's going to be a different type of gameplay. Alright, we will now cover each racial abilities for each races. Keep in mind that most of the active racial abilities usually have a pretty big cooldown between 30 minutes to 2 hours, so you might want to pick your race based on their passive racial abilities. The active ability for the humans is basically that you are harder to knock down or paralyze, and this is a 1 hour cooldown. The humans have 3 passive abilities. One of them is you take less damage from other players in PvP when you're very low on health. The second one would be when you are resurrected, you regenerate health. And the third one is you craft light armor faster. Now for the Castanic. The active effect is increased combat speed for 3 minutes, but minus 20% resistance to knockdown during that time. The effect will also be removed if you are getting knocked down during that time. This has a 30-minute cooldown. The Castanic also has 2 passive abilities. One of them is that you have greater critical chance when you are hitting from behind. They also take a lot less falling damage whenever they fall from very high. And also they can craft metal weapons much faster than any other races. Now for the Dmn, their active is pretty much a resistance to knockdowns and knockouts. This is a 1 hour cooldown ability. They also have 3 passive abilities. They gain damage reduction whenever their health is low. They also have a better resistance against damage over time effects, and they can also gather ore much faster than any other races. Now for the Popori, they actually have 2 active abilities. The first one is a speed increase by 20% for 3 minutes, out of combat only, 30-minute cooldown. The second ability actually lets you sneak through monsters for 1 minute. They won't aggro you, but you will lose 40% movement speed and it's a 1 hour cooldown. Keep in mind you can use these 2 active abilities at the same time to reduce the negative effect. Now for the passive abilities, one of them is that they swim faster than the other races. The second passive ability is that they can gather plants faster. You can notice that the Popori has no female version and that the Healin has no male version. What the game pretty much did is that both of these races actually have the same racial abilities. So consider these 2 races only one race actually, just with both sex. Now for the Baraka, their active ability is a huge heal that replenishes all of their health, but it's a 2 hour cooldown. Their first passive ability is pretty much whenever they die, they cannot go below 20% stamina. The stamina in this game actually lets you have more HPs than what you should have. Consider it like a small buff that you can gain if you don't die and you rest. I believe in the end you can gain an extra 20% HPs with stamina. Now for the second passive ability, it's pretty much a 10% resistance to binding and paralyzing effects. And for the last passive ability they have, they can craft magic weapons 10% faster. Now for the Elves, their active ability is a 2 hour cooldown, 100% refill mana. The Elves actually only have 2 passive ability. The first one is that they regenerate mana whenever they resurrect. And for their second passive ability, they can actually gather alchemical essences faster than other races. I will now show you a couple of my favorite races and class combination with their pre-made armor. Alright guys, thanks for watching. This was Alex from Not Casuals, and if you liked the video, make sure to leave a comment and subscribe. You can also hit that like button if you want. If you wish to follow us on Facebook and Twitter, the links are in the description box, guys. Thank you!